I'm Brandy.
And I'm Rhonda.
And we are Girl Talk with
R&B. All right, guys, so we are on our third episode and we are so excited. So this episode, we're going to be talking about the Superwoman complex that we have, that a lot of us have anyway.
Yeah.
All right?
Yeah. And when we talk about the Superwoman complex, where some people call it the Superwoman syndrome, Superwoman complex, Superwoman schema, but we want to talk about also removing the cape, right?
Yes.
The one thing about Superwoman, when you hear Superwoman, you automatically think about the woman who's doing it all. This woman may be a wife, a mom, a serial entrepreneur, you know what I'm saying? Career woman, going to school. She may be a caretaker for, family members or whatever, but she's doing, I'm talking about juggling, and it's like a balancing act. And she's stretched thin. She's, again, a lot of times has the inability to say no to people or whatever. And there's a part of her that feels like if I don't do it, it won't get done.
Yeah, then who will? Yeah, I do agree with that. At one point in my life, I was a single mom of two girls. So I really wore that cape trying to do everything. It's like I made goals for myself and I had like 3 jobs. I mean, I was doing it all, trying to just have a better life for my children, And then when I got married, it was even more because he did help where I was able to do even more stuff because he could watch the kids or he could do that, So I would also call it wearing many hats. I wear a lot of hats. Even to this day, I still do. But I have learned that I do need to control that because of the different things that can happen because I'm not taking off that cape or taking the time to better myself or time to myself.
Yes. So some women, somebody may be listening to this and they're like, hey, I am a proud cape wearing Superwoman, right? And that's okay, because again, you may say, hey, you know what, I got to get it done. But what happens when Superwoman needs to remove her cape? Because listen, even Clark Kent, he had to take his cape off sometimes. He did not operate in Superman 24/7. Yet as women, and often Black women, we feel the need to keep that cape on. And it's in heavy rotation. And so there's a lot of health issues that can come with that. So again, we think about you're juggling everything. When are you taking care of you?
Yeah, it's very important that you have to take that time to yourself, because if you don't, you start to lose yourself. And that's one of the things that happened with me, because I never did anything by myself. I never took the time for myself to regroup. I was just steady trying to, like I say that on every podcast, my business, my family, my nonprofit, my
going and blowing.
Yes, just going, and not just actually taking some time to be like, hey girl, sit down somewhere until God did it for me. It was a couple of times that God did it for me. God set me down, health-wise. He set me down because I wouldn't do it myself, you know? So that's one of my things, even now that I'm still learning to do, is to do that on my own. Take that time for myself on my own.
And I want to piggyback on that. But okay, so I want to talk about what are some of the characteristics when we think about Superwoman. Obligation that to manifest strength, like we're supposed to be strong, right? Obligation to suppress emotions. Hey, put your big girl underwear on. Put your big girl panties on. Pull yourself up by your bootstraps.
Yes.
There's no crying. There's no time for that. The resistance to being vulnerable or dependent. I don't want to ask anybody for anything. Maybe because you've been let down, you feel like you can't ask people for anything. Determined to succeed despite limited resources, and you always have an obligation to help others. Again, A lot of times with our children, you know, we're like, I gotta get it done. Like Rhonda was saying, she was working 3 jobs because it's like, well, I have mouths to feed, right?
And I wanted to buy them a house. I mean, it was just something in me that pushed. I mean, I did do it. Don't get me wrong. I was a single mom, bought my first house and everything, but it was a struggle, and I did push myself, you know.
Right. Some of the issues that come with this, it becomes a physically. So when we talk about self-care, a lot of times people, when they think of self-care, some people think it's selfish. Because while I'm over here, you know, doing something for me, I need to be doing something else for somebody else, right? Some people will even say, I don't have time for self-care, right? And to that, I say, you better make time, because what happens is the body has a way of getting from you what it needs, right? And if you're not careful and you're not taking care of yourself, you're constantly stretched, you're not paying attention to the warning signs, you may end up in the hospital, okay? So some of the, when we think about this, what comes with Superwoman syndrome complex or whatever, stress and other health-related behaviors, anxiety, depression, right? Even from having babies, it can have an adverse maternal health, right? So we're living in a day now where we are acknowledging mental illness, mental disorders, and the need to take care of your mental health. And when we say mental health, I want you to think about it from the perspective of just taking care of your body, right? We should be going to the doctor at least once a year with our primary care physician.
Getting all the physicals, all your physicals.
Finding out what's going on. Going to the dentist at least, 1 or 2 times a year. Same thing with your mental health. If you don't take time for rest, your body sometimes will force you in submission. And Rhonda can tell you about her personal experience with that.
It got to the point with me where I never really did anything by myself. Never went out to eat by myself. Never went to the movies by myself. It was always I had to be with somebody. And I finally got to the point where things weren't going well with my business. The life at home was okay. I was going through some things with the kids, and some of their issues that they were having that we'll talk about on a later podcast. But I finally was like, you know what? I have to take some time to myself. And it was hard for my husband to let me do this, and he wouldn't let me go far, but I took a trip to Galveston by myself for 4 days. And you don't know how I slept a whole lot, because I don't really sleep, because my mind is creative. It's always going. I slept so much, and just being alone, and something about being by water too. But I took that time. I went and got a massage. I went out to eat by myself. It was just like, oh my God, it's okay to be able to do these things to nurture myself, so that I can get my mental health back together. Because I felt like I was going to lose it. Like, being honest, I felt like if I don't get out of here, I'm going to lose my, you know what?
Lose your mind. And I think what's important for us to recognize is that we hear it all the time. You cannot pour from an empty cup, right? So think about it. When you're on an airplane, and when the flight attendants are going through their routine, what they say, if you have, small children and you need to help someone, you put on your face mask first, right? You're going to put on your face mask first, so that now you can help those around you. So that's what it looks like when taking the cape off. I have to remove my cape in order to put my face mask on, okay? We think about, when people are having nervous breakdowns. I was telling Rhonda, I remember in the 80s, my grandmother was admitted to the hospital for about a week. We had somebody try to come in and visit with us.
He's so cute. He was like, oops.
She was in the hospital for about a week, and she had what was called a nervous breakdown. Now in hindsight, I realized what was going on. Life was lifing. Right? and she was not taking the proper care, sitting back. And again, because of some things that was going on in our household, and we'll talk about that, later on in another podcast. My grandmother had to wear a lot of hats. Okay. And it took a toll on her. So you cannot pour from an empty cup. You cannot be the best version of yourself if you are not watering yourself. Think about a plant. A plant needs water. It needs some sunlight. Okay? So if you are not taking time to remove that cape, and I don't know, you have to determine, you got to listen to your body to know how often you need to remove that cape, right? If you don't take care of you, and if you are one of those people that say, I don't have time, I want you to think about what happens when you are forced to take a break, i.e. in the hospital, in the ER. When you are laid up and the doctor is saying, we're not gonna, you're gonna be here for a week. Then what happens?
You have to sit still.
You have to sit still. So again, there are some women that they wear that cape proud because they're like, oh, I can do it all. Then there are some that are like, I don't want to do it all. But if I don't do it, it won't get done. So another thing that I want to leave you with is, who do you turn to when you need rest? Rhonda, when she said earlier about not wanting to say, I think she said not wanting to say no to people, whatever. So a lot of times we're people pleasers. Okay. We are people pleasers, and we it's almost like if I say no, I'm going to disappoint someone. Okay. I want you to think about how many times you've extended your help and your support to someone, and you say these things. If you need me, let me know. Let me know how I can help. Now I want you to think about how many times has someone said the same thing to you. If you need me, let me know. Let me know if I can help. Yet we never reach out to the people who are saying that. So I always tell people, just like you can be there for everybody, you deserve a you in someone else. And there are people that are literally saying, hey, you don't have to do it all. Let me know if you need some help and I can help you. I want to encourage you to say, you know what? I really appreciate, and I do need your help. And it's not easy for me to ask, so I appreciate it. Maybe if you can even ask them, like, in what way do you feel comfortable? But remember, you cannot pour from an empty cup.
That's so true.
You gotta take the cape off sometimes.
Rejuvenate yourself. Take care of yourself, even if it's just doing something monthly for yourself. Go get your nails done. Go get a massage. You have to take that time to regroup. You have to take that time to, even if you're moving around so much, you have to remember. And especially like we have this little thing with us drinking water and motivating us to drink water. Y'all, for me drinking water, then this is probably off the subject, but this just came to me. I feel so much better. The days that I do drink my water the way that I'm supposed to, my joints don't hurt as bad. Just take care of yourself. Do little small things that you're able to do where you drinking water, you can do that staying busy, but just make sure you're taking care of yourself, even if you can't find that time, that little bit of time to go and get your nails done that day. But I would always say, at least once a month, do something for yourself. Take that cape off. Regroup. Try to get your thoughts together, We be so busy we can't even think straight. That's what I say sometimes. Girl, I can't even think straight.
Going and blowing.
What day is it?
Going and blowing.
Yes.
So what does that look like? For some, they're like, hey, I would say take your PTO. Right? My grandmother
mental health days.
Mental health days. So my grandmother used to always say, baby, let me tell you something. If something happened to you at that job, they're going to have your position in the paper the next day, right?
Yes.
So don't be careful, you know, always like, okay, well, I can't afford to take off from work. You got PTO, take it. Let me tell you, I know some people that's like, child, I ain't got no PTO, but I'm about to go on this trip because I know I need a mental break, right? So schedule some time off and keep an appointment with yourself. So think about it. If you had an important meeting with your boss, you're going to make sure you don't miss that, right? Schedule some time with you. Even if it's just a day to lay in bed all day and do nothing. Even if it's a day to just, I'm going to go and treat myself to a nice meal. I'm going to come take a nice shower and I'm going to binge watch my favorite show. But I'm doing this to regroup, okay? So again, if you don't find the time to remove the cape, Superwoman, and take care of you, if you're not careful, life will force you into submission and will force you to take a break. Sometimes that can be, again, in a nervous breakdown, anxiety, depression.
In the hospital.
In the hospital, because your body is responding to the constant stress. Your body is like, we can't keep functioning like this. And so it can often result in an illness. Okay? So, Superwoman, take off your cape.
Take it off, ladies.
And remember, and I think this is so important to realize, to recognize, you taking your cape off is not a sign of weakness.
Not at all.
All right? It takes somebody real strong to say, I can't do it all. For you to recognize, I cannot do it all.
Yes.
I got to step away, start delegating. Again, pay attention to those people that say, if you need me, let me know. Take them up on their offer. Just like you're there for everybody, allow somebody to be there for you.
And now I'll say one last thing to that. Like when she was saying when people are offering to help you, I honestly have a huge issue with that. And that's something that I'm working on. But now some of my other friends are going through stuff and it's like they've kind of closed off like how I was closed off. And so now I'm like, okay, I see how that feels, you know? So make sure to take people up on that, even if it's just going out to eat. You know, you want to go somewhere, you want to go to the water, you want to go, you know, just to get out and just to take that cape off. So just make sure that you're regrouping, make sure that you're setting goals for yourself as far as taking care of yourself and just relax and enjoy, self-evaluate when you're taking those days. What can I do better to better myself, for myself, not for nobody else, but for yourself. And I think you will live a better life by doing that.
That part.
It will be much better by taking care of yourself so you can take care of others.
Yes. So Rhonda has this saying by Maya Angelou. My mission in life is not merely to survive, but to thrive. And to do so with some passion, some compassion, and humor. And some style.
Yeah, right? I love that. I was researching today and I saw that. I was like, oh, that's perfect.
Perfect.
Yes.
So, we got to get to the point where we are just trying to keep our heads above water, where we're just existing. Again, like I said, going and blowing. You're not even, they say, stop and smell the roses, stop and smell the coffee or something. Right?
Smell something.
Take the time to just like, let me hear the birds chirp, right? But we got to move past just going, existing. What does thriving look like for you? Again, girl, take that cape off.
Take it off, y'all.
Take care of you. And this is another thing, guys. You have goals that you set. If you are not taking care of yourself, mind, body, spirit, it's going to be difficult.
It's going to be difficult.
To really, even if you achieve those goals, you may get to a place where you're so mentally exhausted that you can't even enjoy the success. All right.
That's true.
So
I love
Superwoman,
that.
remove that cape.
Remove that cape, Superwoman. Yeah.
All right.
So we hope you guys enjoyed this third episode of Girl Talk with R&B. Bye, guys.
Bye-bye.